Hi there! Welcome to 108live.radio. This is Kazway Kashiopia. I am a tarot card reader, artist, creator, and publisher of tarot. I'm also a psychologist and energy healer. I have my own practice in Johannesburg, South Africa as a life coach. I'd like to welcome you to my show, Interactive Tarot. The show is not only about tarot cards, although bits and pieces of tarot-related topics will be covered, along with carrying out live tarot readings. It is just simply full of insights on way of life, philosophy, science, and spirituality, most of the time involving guests who are in the field of health, wellness, and or spirituality. If you have any question or suggestion, please contact me by emailing to mail2@kashiopia.com. Again, it is mail2@kashiopia.com, Kashiopia being spelled Kashiopia. Interactive Tarot is aired every Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. live here on 108live.radio. Stay tuned in. So let me start introducing our guest today. First of all, thank you for being here, Dr. Rita. Dr. Rita is our main guest today. And then we got Silvio, who is supposed to be not talking, but he's the one who brought Dr. Rita. So I'm still going to introduce him.
Hello, everybody.
And
thanks for joining us.
Cool, thank you for joining us. And then Atma, who is the producer of 108live.radio. Part of the furniture. You play a big role here. So let me quickly introduce you, Dr. Rita. Do you mind if I just read who you are?
Of course, go ahead.
Okay. So Dr. Rita is an international instructor with the Modern Mystery School. She's professionally certified healer, teacher, guide, Kabbalist, and a third-step ritual master in the lineage of King Solomon. She's the founder and director of Limina, Lucem, Health and Wellness Center of Excellence in Bedfordview, South Africa, facilitating programs and healings of the Modern Mystery School. Her natural abilities and many talents have created huge breakthroughs in many people's lives. Her life's passion is empowering people to reclaim their own power and greatness. Sounds really, really awesome. And I usually start my show talking about some bits and pieces of tarot, but I'm going to skip that because there is so much connection between Kabbalah and tarot. And also, I'm very, very interested in how the whole idea of a lineage of King Solomon, as I'm not entirely unfamiliar either. I've been involved something like that for the last 15 years as well. So instead of me talking about a tarot, let's start asking you a few questions if you don't mind.
No, of course not. But tarot is a way of life, just like Kabbalah is.
Exactly.
So whatever we're going to talk about is going to tie together.
Yes. I've completely stopped talking about, I don't think I have even talked about how people should be doing reading. This is what spreads are, because that I don't feel that's the most important part of it. It means to the end, the ends of Kabbalah, ends of tarot is really about learning way of life and philosophy of life. So, yes, I totally resonate with what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Kabbalah, tarot is all about going inside and receiving all the answers from inside.
Yes.
So, for me personally, you have to be an accomplished meditator and going insider long before you start doing tarot spreads for others, especially.
Yes. Yeah. I feel so. I studied tarot for 15 years before I actually started really doing reading. My idea of tarot was actually to study and draw and create my own deck. So that's what I did, and it took 25-30 years to create that way. How Yeah. So 25 years to 30 years to publish my deck actually, and my journey still isn't finished. There is so much depth to Kabbalah and esoteric studies. So
absolutely, it's a lifelong study, right?
it is, and it continued before we were born, and it will continue after we leave this world.
Yeah, well, that ties into the King Solomon lineage and the modern mystery school. We are eternal beings. We have never been born. We can never die.
Yes.
So we have that ability to find out more about ourselves
continuously. So how do you how do I come up with a question? What is the validation that it came directly? It is like being passed on directly from King Solomon. Would you mind explaining who King Solomon was for those who might not know?
Yeah, well, King Solomon was one of the famous and most known kings of Israel, and he had this passion. He wanted wisdom, abundance, and prosperity for every human being on this planet. And he did a lot of inner searching, and when he yearned to know God, and whatever label God takes for any individual, that is good, because truthfully God is just like a universal concept, although in our human nature we have narrowed and limited that concept to religion. So he yearned to know God and to know himself, and we know and we teach as well that in order to know God you really have to know yourself know
first,
thyself.
Considering that we are a reflection of God as well, and not in a bigoted way, but how microcosm reflects the macrocosm, and vice versa.
So below, as within, so without, right? Yeah, and that is an axiom that, or a universal law that we don't consciously think about, but everything is reflected, and everything is reflections of everything and everyone.
What is the connection between King Solomon and Kabbalah? Did Kabbalah exist before his time, or?
That is now a really broad question with a lot of deep answers, because Kabbalah, as you know, means to receive. And a long time ago, and I don't want to go into that right now because I want to try and give you a succinct answer, we received all of the answers to find our way back home. So that journey of returning back to our divine self, to become godlike or God again, we received all of those answers. And Kabbalah, the knowledge of Kabbalah and this map was implanted into humans as the DNA. Because as you know, the DNA holds all of the answers. It's the holographic imprint of everything in the universe.
Yes, holograph, yes.
Yeah. So King Solomon only he consolidated all of the esoteric knowledge of all the mystery schools on the planet into the King Solomon lineage. So it's not only from King Solomon's days. He merely consolidated from 12 mystery schools to the 7 ancient mystery schools that are on the planet as is at the moment. So it comes long before, from the beginning of time.
From the beginning of time, yes. Yeah, because the Kabbalah itself is not a school or religious organization, or it's more of a broad term, isn't it? And everything can be put into the system or the concept of Kabbalah, and it can be processed according to not even teaching. It's just a system or structure in order to understand the world around us. That's how I understand or practice Kabbalah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're correct. Kabbalah is a living, dynamic. breathing structure or reference point that gives us the pointers of, you know that we use the tree of life as the map, right?
Yes.
So that is the map of Kabbalah. But in this map, it holds all the attributes and all the knowledge of the whole cosmos.
At so many different levels too. I guess I have heard once, but I practice this. I try to practice it on daily basis. That there is a Zen in the East, that in Zen, in the meditative state, people reach 0 point, that they get rid of everything, as absolutely everything in the mind in order to become zero. Kabbalah is like Zen, but have a different approach, that you fill in all the void with anything and everything. You reach you started just filling up and filling up and filling up, and make connection between this and that, or make connections of everything to create the world that you understand. And then you come to realize, okay, everything is one, and one becomes nothing. One came from nothing. So in the East, Zen is their way of reaching zero. Kabbalah on the other hand, is the Western way of reaching zero. They're both going the same way.
Yeah, it's very much the same principle. In Kabbalah, the main teaching is that you have to become empty. Once
Yes,
you become
exactly.
completely empty,
So
you
it
can
becomes
receive everything
Yeah.
in the universe. But if you are full with the knowledge or the mind clutter, which Kabbalah is the ultimate to clean and clear out that mind clutter.
And that's how you.
come to stillness.
That's what your school can lead students or those who are seeking healings to be emptied of the mind clutters. Is my understanding right?
Yeah, we teach universal Kabbalah, which is, like you've explained, there are many different forms or structures of Kabbalah.
Yeah.
The religious, Judaism, Islam, Christian Kabbalah, all these different Kabbalists. Universal Kabbalah is the purest esoteric Kabbalah.
Yes.
It has no religious dogma to it, and it really takes us back to the metaphysical teachings of that wholeness, that oneness, that the main concept of Ein Sof being the infinite, the source of everything, and yet nothing, because as soon as you start explaining Ein Sof, you put a limitation to Ein Sof.
Yes.
And it is a limitless, all-knowing nothingness, and yet everything.
Sylvia, would you like to say anything, or?
Oh, I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't have anything to add at this point, no. Thank you, though.
And how long have you been involved with the school?
With this mystery school?
Yeah.
I've been involved for 8 years now.
Yeah?
8 years now, yeah. And I've been studying Kabbalah for about, in-depthly, maybe 4. But truly, a lot of the esoteric teachings stem from Kabbalah.
Yes. I also go back to Kabbalah. Everything refers to Kabbalah for me too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's also quite easy approach to life and life philosophy and the aesthetic system, because it is so structured. Once people know how it is structured logically, it makes it easy to connect one to another, and that's exactly how Tree of Life depicts how even one single life event can be analyzed or can lead to sequences that is described in Kabbalah, and it can be a psychological process to like the natural phenomenon, I feel.
Well, as a medical doctor, I must tell you, I actually started studying medicine because I wanted to look inside the body and see, what makes people tick.
Okay.
And obviously, as you can think, I didn't get my answers there. But Kabbalah gave me the greatest diagnostic tool to assist me.
I can see that, yes.
I truthfully believe that this is the medicine of the future. Once everybody starts tapping into those secrets that will be revealed, the more you study it, the more you explore it, the more you meditate on it, we can return back to our divine state. That state in the Garden of Eden, let's call it the Garden of Eden, or whatever you want to, that original perfected being, the Adam Kadmon, where we are trying to get back to that nature. Once we all start realizing that divinity inside of ourselves, and we start going within to get the answers, no longer looking at anybody else out there, then I truthfully believe that we can go back to that perfected state. Now, in the mystery school, we are a school of empowerment. We give you the tools. It is a very old and ancient lineage, and traditionally has always been an oral hand-down from the teacher to the ear of the student, from the mouth of the teacher to the ear of the student. And that will assist us to take our own power back. So we don't want people to come to the school or to a healer or a teacher for the answers. That's what we are trained to do.
Yes.
That's what we need to do as humans. Go back inside, because we have all of the answers inside of ourselves. And stop finding validation. You used the word validation earlier on, but stop finding validation from outside.
Externally,
because nobody can tell you.
And also we don't even know if what we know is really true or not. But we have to have our own truth.
Yeah, as you know about truth, what is truth, right?
What is truth? Like, my truth is my truth, but is that really the ultimate truth? No. But all I can do is, be sure about what I think I know, whether it's right or wrong, but be always open to different opinions and ideas, and not to be stuck anywhere, whether not knowing or knowing, one way or the other. And I feel that a tree of life is such a wonderful imagery of providing different perspectives, like the guidance to different perspectives, because there is like there's a whole concept of a yin and yang to not positive or negative. Nothing is positive, nothing is negative. It is what it is. But as things of, like a duality to trinity to all the concept is actually in this little diagram of a tree of life, which I really wish I had a picture of. So like we could show you a picture. We have got this. You can just have a look at. Oh, there we go, tree of life.
Yeah, the tree of life.
So people should know what tree of life.
That
one
shows.
Depiction.
Yeah, that's one depiction of it, and
it's just one.
Just one, because there are so many.
Many, exactly.
The basics of it, the tree of life, that map has got the 3 pillars.
Yes.
And we are in a system of duality.
Yes.
So until we transcend that and we bring those two opposites together, which is what Universal Kabbalah is all about. Having the 2 pillars, left and right, the male and the female.
Yeah.
But bringing everything together into the middle pillar.
Yes.
And you mentioned something earlier that I want to just catch on. It is all about our experiences.
Yes,
if
it is our
positive and negative, because there is this duality. Then you know when to wield this energy and when to wield that energy. But the goal is always to be in the middle pillar and be in the center. Weave the 2 different pillars into the middle pillar. Well, you can add about your experience. You've done Universal Kabbalah and
agreeing with what you're saying, as practically I see it as being aware that there are at the base 2 sides to things. I guess it's kind of like having a happy medium in a sense. Because there could be to one swing of the pendulum, there's the worst that could happen, and the other side is what's the best that could happen, right? So the range of events which could occur exist between those two pendulums. So having a system to guide you will assist you to find that, let's say, choice which will have the best outcome for you.
Well, everything is about finding our joy, and Kabbalah helps us to bring joy back into our lives. I haven't met anybody that doesn't want more joy, more fun, more abundance, more freedom, more liberation, and that is the glory of Kabbalah when we study the different aspects. But if I say the tree of life, it's not just a one-dimensional or a two-dimensional, not even three-dimensional, because there's a tree upon a tree upon a tree, and in a tree,
yes, or even
right?
even a tree in one sephirah.
Exactly. Yeah, the whole tree is in every sephirah, and so therefore it is a universal system with so many correspondences or so much symbolism.
And that sounds just like how our soul or like our mind is constructed. And as you say, like, who doesn't want more joy? However, there are more people who have blockage to receiving joy, or who are afraid of success, who are actually afraid of receiving money, and who doesn't want to believe that money is real or success is real. And it's that mindset of stuck in fear, which is actually for them a safe place to be. But that doesn't allow them to explore the light within, the light that they're born within.
Yeah, well, when we are in a comfort zone, there is no growth, right?
Yeah.
So it might sound like comfortable and it might sound safe, but we don't grow and we're not fulfilled and we don't live our purpose. So we get blunted, bored, unhappy.
Yeah.
That's why I said earlier, I get very passionate about the diagnostic value of the tree of life, because if you explore all the correspondences, the symbolism, and all the truths in every sphere, the sephirah, then what happens is you can actually start recognizing where your blockages are.
Yes.
And it's not just in the personality, it's not just the ego, but it's also in the physical body. And
sure.
From the point of a medical doctor, I see people with their blockages and they've got heart disease or high blood pressure or whatever it might be, and then knowing what that aspect of the tree of life contains, you can guide them and help them and assist them. Because you know that all healing begins with self-healing, and all self-healing has to do with forgiveness, right?
Yes, it does.
You know that.
Yeah.
So it helps, and it changed the way that I practiced medicine.
Okay.
Completely.
When was that, may I ask?
Well, I recently stopped because I travel and I'm an international teacher now for the school. So I have the great privilege of going everywhere in the world and teaching this. But I was in medical practice till about 6 years. Probably 6 years ago. And, you never leave medical practice, right?
Sure.
You always have patients and everybody has got a disease. Have you ever been to a party? No, you probably haven't. Doctor. Oh, you're a doctor. I've got a pain in my right shoulder. What do you think that might be?
No, I do get that. Like, so you're a psychologist. You can read my mind. Or like, you're a tarot reader.
Yeah.
Can you do a reading for me? It's like, what's supposed to be my occupation?
Yeah, so you never on a holiday or you never have social time as a doctor or a psychologist. You know the feeling then,
then
right?
you started talking about, this is what's going on in your life. And
well, I couldn't take my scalpel with me and started operating on people at parties, but now I can tell them and guide them. Okay, so you know what? You've got a persistent pain in your right shoulder. Do you find yourself stuck? And then you would explore all the different aspects of the Sephirat as wherever the blockages are.
That is just so interesting.
It's really amazing.
It is such a practical approach to Kabbalah.
There are different ways. Kabbalah,
Yeah.
and they spell it in all kinds of different ways.
Some starts with a Q, some starts with a K.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So however you pronounce it, that's perfectly fine, because when we get stuck into those limited beliefs,
exactly. When they people become dogmatic about it. No, you are supposed to pronounce it like this, spell it like this. And I want to challenge, who said?
Yeah.
You said, right? Not God.
Yeah, it comes back to that truth. Our truth is, my truth at this moment in time is not the same truth that I had like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right?
Exactly.
So we've got a unique reference point, and you are the only one with that unique reference point in this universe, in this fabric of the universe. And it's just your truth for that moment in time.
Yeah, just for that moment. And it's okay to change, go flexible. It's like life is supposed to be fluid.
Well, the only constant thing in the universe is change, right?
Yes,
nothing is not changing.
Exactly.
Everything is moving, and forward movement is the norm. And if you are not moving and you're not progressing, you are not experiencing living life to the fullest, then you're stuck. And stuck means death.
Yeah,
and I know we don't want to face that, but that is what it is. And in that dying process, that is where all the unhappiness and the depression and the anxieties and the fears and the manias and all those phobias and all those things start entering into the psyche of the human.
I'm stupidly enough, I actually forgot my tarot cards today, but I would like to just share the concept. In my card of death, there is, well, as you said, death is the card of moving on, actually, accepting and acknowledging the end, and then moving on. But in my card, there is yin-yang that is created with live fish and dead fish, because in Kabbalah, Kabbalistically speaking, the death card is attributed to Hebrew character of Nun. And nun, it means fish. So I put a dead fish and a live fish, making it a yin-yang. And this yin-yang made me just think of two of the discs, which means change. And this constant change, it leads to equilibrium. And also, because of its change, it creates wholeness, actually. And as we were saying, like without growing, well, what if we are stuck, then we're not going to grow. And sometimes that growth deals with the pain, like it involves pain, growth pain. And a lot of people are more afraid of that than actually break through and moving on to somewhere that they didn't know, a place of joy.
Well, the whole concept of Kabbalah is all about alchemy. It's an alchemical process. And an alchemical process, it's like, a really dirty pot. You start scrubbing that pot. It takes a little bit of elbow grease, you put effort into it. But if you start cleaning and clearing yourself, it becomes painful. And that is one thing that people try and avoid.
Yes.
But without pain, there is no growth and there's no transformation.
Yeah.
So in the Universal Kabbalah Ascension program that we run usually approximately over 10 months, we start this process by cleaning all the dirty lenses. You see I wear spectacles. So it's like they get all fogged up and they get all murky. So it's starting to clean all of these lenses.
And they used to get to see the things that only they wanted to see. But once it's, the sight is clear, they now get to see things that they didn't necessarily want to see.
We don't want to really see anything about ourselves, right? But seeing us in the reflection of others, it's painful, it's hard.
Yes.
But it brings the most amazing liberation. What I always tell my clients and my patients, it's not easy or nice to look at something while you are going through it. But just give it a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And then look back and retrospect. You will see that is your greatest gift. Those hard times start chiseling away all the veils, the mask, all the things that blocks your beautiful light.
There is an English phrase saying ignorance is bliss. But is it?
Is it?
Is it?
I don't think so. I think it really creates a perception of that makes us unhappy. that keeps us small and limited. And nobody wants to be small and limited, no matter what you say. You want to be big, liberated, freedom, and you want to be smiling. You don't want to have this 8 to 5, I've got to go work and survive and make money. That is not what we have been put onto this universe for.
That's why there are people who are, say, spiritually not interested. I'm not even using the word enlightened, but it's just not interested. They have to put on the facade that they are big and they are great and life is wonderful because they got a big house, big car. I have nothing against big cars and big houses. I have nothing against money either. But when they can't see true themselves, they have to rely on things that they have.
Yeah, it's filling that big, dark gap with things from outside.
Yeah.
And nothing ever brings pleasure. You can never fill it enough. There is nothing enough in the universe to fill that big black hole inside.
There has to be, it has to come from within, and it becomes all about, self-love, looking after oneself, knowing oneself, as you were saying earlier.
Well, everything in the mystery school is about getting to know thyself. Know thyself has been the motto above all of the mystery schools and mystery tradition throughout all of the ages.
It's so easy said than done.
But what is it to get to know thyself? And that's what I love about Kabbalah, is especially Universal Kabbalah. Every single day we go through these 5 questions. Who am I? Well, that sounds easy, right? What am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going to? And what is my purpose? Why am I here? And what is my unique gifts and talents? And when you get to know yourself, you can really only do it when you are living life alive. When you are living in an isolated little room or behind your computer, or behind your Walkman, or these things that we distract ourselves with, we cannot fully get to know ourselves.
And those answers, it can constantly change throughout life. Can it?
There are answers that constantly change, but there is the golden thread that runs through everything. We are royal divinity.
Yes.
We are gods and goddesses having this physical experience. So in that, there are certain things that will not change.
I resonate with that.
Yeah. But of course, my day-to-day life, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, these things keep on changing and our roles keep on changing. Our roles change. But that who we truthfully are, that divinity, once we start tapping into that universal knowledge of who we are and what we are meant to be doing here on this planet, then the answers become more advanced, more deep, more profound, and they don't change. They just have a slight nuance in the truth, the eternal truth. And now I'm talking about truth with a capital T here.
Chapter, yes.
The truth of the universe, of the laws of God.
And who we are, who are we, who am I, to what is my purpose? As you say, I feel it's all related to each other. And in some of my works or like when I do workshops or when I'm having a client, I sometimes do life purpose guidance, and usually it is not about life purpose is not about what a person is doing. It's more actually about feeling. So I have clients close their eyes and think of the best moment in their life, the happiest time ever in their life, and how they felt. On top of the happiness, what were the feelings that they felt within? Is that contentment? Is that satisfaction, joy, deep love? All those positive feelings. That's the purpose of life. And what you are supposed to do is to have those feelings. So in order to have those feelings, what are you going to do? And that becomes a practical path or practical way of reaching your purpose. That's something I do. But that feeling of joy, like thinking of the happiest moment and the connection to that joyful feeling leads to our soul being, which is love and light ultimately. Sometimes it can sound really cheesy and corny to those people who are not there, if you know what I mean. But that's a reflection of the universe and God.
And it's also a reflection of where we are in a specific moment, right?
Sure.
So if we keep our options open and we know that what I always say is, if everything in your life is working for you and you are happy and content, then keep on doing what you're doing, because it's obviously you're making the right choices. But if anything is not 100% the way that you like it, remember that you've got free will and choice to change.
And also, we manifest. Where we are is what we have manifested. It doesn't mean it's negative or positive. It's just you are where you are because you have resonated, or like those things are resonating with your state.
But if things are not the way that you want it, know that you can choose to make a different option. Make a different choice, and the result, the outcome will be different. But what I think people don't realize and understand is that there's a massive difference between happiness, being happy, and being in joy. Happiness is dependent on our state of what we feel like, our emotions, our feelings, our circumstances. But joy, true joy, is a state of being.
Yes.
And it does not matter whether you have not, whether you are feeling happy or you're feeling joyful or you're feeling sad or depressed. That joy does not go anywhere. And that is the ultimate being of Kabbalah, is returning to that state of joy.
Oh, that's so profound. And in psychology, in Western psychology, it has been studied that the concept of being happy has put pressure on people, that the whole concept has put people in depression, actually.
Yeah, but it ties in with that you've mentioned earlier. People think that they will be happy if they've got a big house, lots of cars, a couple of million rand in the bank. I know people that are desperately unhappy, and I've seen so many patients with severe disease and illness and pre-terminal illnesses because of the fact that those things cannot bring happiness, cannot bring that joy. It can never fulfill you completely. With things from outside. You get distracted though. It keeps you busy and it keeps you yearning for more, but it can never fulfill you completely.
That's like chasing a carrot that's hanging in front of you, and it just, we're not horses, but
Well, it's chasing the tail,
chasing
right?
Tail, yes.
Yeah.
Like chasing something that we think that's going to make us happy. And look, I've been there in my life. It's like once I get there, then I'm gonna feel this way, And I realized, no, it doesn't work that way. It is just what it is, and just enjoy the moment. And even enjoy growing pain. Sometimes it feels so hard to acknowledge the pain. And my ego is thinking, well, but I have been in a very safe place, so I don't want to get out. But then...
Well, if we can just continue stepping forward and continue embracing that pain, the pain actually goes away. It will subside, because pain never just keeps on going and going. And it's that same thing. When we are born, we take that breath of God, and when we in this world, we blow it out and the body dies. But there's something that is eternal, way beyond the physical body. And when we can tap into that eternal spirit, soul, that eternal who we are, then we can transcend and we can ascend the physical. So physical pain and discomfort is not a permanent state of being.
No emotional or psychological pain.
Yeah, absolutely. So the answer always lies within, and
yes, as you say, empowerment.
We've got to continue looking for that. Everybody is searching. There is not a single person that's not searching, and even once you have reached that state of let's call it enlightenment, there's always more.
Yeah.
There's always deeper, there's always
absolutely,
higher,
yes.
and you can just continue going more and more.
Where was I going? No, I sorry, I forgot I was going to say. No, we can just continue.
I'm sure it will come back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, we are really discussing quite deep aspects. But, one thing that I want to tell you, which is more practical, because some of the listeners out there might think, oh, this is, unattainable for me. Kabbalah is a very practical system. It is like having a big filing cabinet with 10 drawers, the 10 Sephirot.
Yeah.
And these aspects, it's like a filing cabinet, and you can start filing everything into these slots so that your life can be decluttered, not just the physical life, but the mind, the personality, your mental processes. As you know, mental processing today with our very busy lives, the mind takes up all of these processes. They say it's 970,000 per minute nowadays, but Kabbalah gives you a structured way of filing all of these appropriate correspondences into these filing cabinets, and you can declutter a little bit.
And from the perspective of an artist, I have to say, well, without having a canvas that is empty, we can't start a new art. So if the mind is up there and totally filled, well, it might not even have a room for organizing it. So put those things in the file so you can clear it, organize it, and have space, create space to bring something new.
Yeah, create space also, and bring the things of the subconscious into consciousness.
Yes.
Because that subconscious is what bites us in the behind all the time.
All the time.
All these old patterns.
Yes.
Even though you might want to be good, and you make a decision, and I'm going to be good, and I'm going to not do this in my life. Before you know it, it just happens. It just dawns on you.
Yeah,
it just,
subconscious, and the fear of success, fear of receiving money, fear of receiving anything from anyone, comes from the subconscious. They got used to the idea of not having. Yeah. So actually having becomes a scary field. It becomes the unknown, and we all innately have the fear of the unknown. So getting to know subconscious is very, very important. It's actually the third card in tarot card, the High Priestess. She teaches to go deep into our subconscious mind. That's where our divine self lies. Yeah.
And that when you definitely have, because you've studied tarot, it's about the path working. It's the paths between the Sephirot.
Yes.
So that is the aspects that is tying the two experiences, the two spheres together, and that path working, that pathway is what you work with, not just the major arcana, but also the rest. So when we actually study tarot, and that, we are also going deeper and deeper into the Kabbalistic spheres.
It's not surprise for the listeners who are not familiar with the association between tarot and Kabbalah. Well, there are 78 cards in tarot, and there are 10 Sephirot. How do you pronounce it?
There is 10 spheres, which is called Sephirot, the plural, and Sephirah is the one.
And between each
Sephirah is the pathways.
Okay, you got a proper pronunciation.
No. As we said earlier, there's no difference between yours, mine. It is a little bit easier for South Africans maybe to do the R.
Yeah, Sephirah.
Yeah.
In order to connect these 10 Sephirah, there are 22 paths. And these 22 paths actually corresponds to major arcana. Yeah. And in 10 Sephirah, for each of suit, wand, cup, sword, and disc, will fit in. So like on the first sephira, there will be 4 aces and so on. So as a total, there are 32 paths in Tree of Life. Then 78 cards, and they fit perfectly into each other.
Each of these spheres.
Was my was my explanation
Yes.
okay?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. Each, in the Tree of Life, we explore the 10 spheres, the 10 sephirot. But in every of these sephira, there is a whole world of correspondences.
Yes.
The god names and archangels and angels and
stones and
stones.
animals and plants.
Exactly, as
yeah.
well as all the different the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll if people are having a harder time following, I'll try to simplify things for them. But on the Tree of Life, there are, let's say, 10 markers, and those markers are called sephira, and in between them are lines, which are also considered paths. So as they've been describing is this is the study of the markers on the tree or the map and the pathways between them and how they relate to each other.
That's so cool. Thank you so much. Yeah. You see, I understand the things visually. So when I understand things visually, my mind stops like thinking how to describe them by words. But that's exactly like, beginners
Kabbalah.
Beginners like a good explanation to understand what Tree of Life is constructed of.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a simple diagram, like you showed visually, like we spoke before. There are many representations of this diagram, from as simple as a picture of a tree, of a literal tree, to a picture of circles and lines, and then all the immense symbology and symbols and sigils and correspondences there are within this tree or this symbol. Like you've discussed, and the depth is unlimited. It's unlimited depth into this map, which is literally the map of everything. And that's where the study begins. And what I found was amazing is that this program that Rita teaches, which takes place over a year long, and the first time I studied in this program, the amount of knowledge I gained was remarkable. And like you've said, it taught me, like you've spoke about tarot and way of life, and this study gave me so much insight into myself, insight into my personal subconscious, my personal psyche, my relationship to life, to my emotions, and to people, and it gave me a diagnostic tool to understand where all this fit in, and that gives you power.
Yes, it becomes an empowerment tool.
It's an empowerment
tool. Because you get to learn about yourself. You get to analyze and understand what's going on. And by organizing what is going on around you, you have better relationship with yourself, with your life.
Exactly, and a better ability to make better decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody's just trying to do, right? You know, people are like, we've been talking about fear, but so many people fear making the wrong choice.
But are they?
Exactly. And sometimes people choose not to choose just because they don't want to make the wrong choice.
Yeah.
So any tool that can help me make a better, more empowered choice or decision is worth looking into for me.
So is there was there any upcoming events or promotion that
Yeah, absolutely. We've got an open day at Limina Lucem on Monday, the 24th, which is a public holiday.
Okay.
And we are going to be doing many public talks on Universal Kabbalah.
And that will be in Bedfordview.
That's in Bedfordview, 79 Boeing Road East. And anybody is welcome, and it's free. It's a free open day. But we also have an upcoming 10-month Ascension program, which is starting in Bedfordview on the 1st and 2nd of December.
Okay.
And how it works, there are 4 modules where every 3-4 months, and the schedule is on the website, but we come together and we do intensive training. Talk more about all these principles and talk about all these concepts and all of information that is not necessarily found in books. We do oral teaching, and then we get together every 2 weeks for intensive study groups. Work where we start working at clearing out all of our patterns, all of the negative habits and patterning and behaviors that constantly bite us.
How can people get hold of you or get in touch with the school?
They can go onto my website, liminalucem.co.za, and liminalucem.co.za, and please go browse around. It's got all the information about all the courses in the school, but go to the Universal Kabbalah, and we speak a lot about all the basic principles and also the requirements. And should they be interested, they can also contact me on 083 457 8880. And if I'm in a session, please send a text or even send a WhatsApp. That's okay, I'll respond to you. I'm either on the show with you or doing some healings or teaching workshops, but we always get back to somebody. They can also email us, and it is dr for doctor .rita at liminalucem.co.za.
Cool.
Drop me a mail.
Cool. This radio session is being recorded, and I will turn it into YouTube, so you can absolutely distribute it and share with whoever you would like to.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Social media is a big thing nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
Yeah,
and it gives
Can you
everybody
share a little more about the program that's going to be happening in December? You said it's starting?
Yeah, the prerequisite to attend this year-long Universal Kabbalah is a 2-day workshop where we do Empower Thyself. And remember, I spoke to you where we give people all the tools to start this process of empowering for themselves. We speak more about King Solomon and the lineage, and we also speak deeply about the differentiation between spirit and soul, so that we can start work with these aspects that we don't really know so much about. We know we've physical body and we can feel and touch and we've got shape, but spirit and soul is a bit more invisible and intangible. So we explain a lot more about that. And then once you've done Empower Thyself, you can register and partake of the Universal Kabbalah. So like I said, it's 4 modules, and in the first module, you actually get ascended. Now, you know what ascension is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So ascension really is where you can actually now partake. You become the subject, as opposed to reading about a subject. You become the subject that you study about. So it's an experiential experience, the Universal Kabbalah. And the first module, you get ascended into Malkuth. And Malkuth, the kingdom.
The bottom sphere.
Yeah, right at the bottom, which is part of our physical body, but also our earth, represents earth. And we open that gateway to the kingdom, and help and assist. The physical body is manifested here, but to bring spirit into the physical body. So we start working with that, and then the second module, you get ascended into the next 4 spheres: Hod, Netzach, and Yesod, Hod, Netzach, and Tiferet. And we start
which is represented by a prince scale in tarot.
Yeah, exactly. And we start working with all of those aspects to clear out the personality. And start ascending and transcending the personality, the lower self, so that we can fully embody the Christ consciousness, the aspect of Tiferet, which is that sacrificing of the self, of the lower self. And then in the third module, you get ascended into Gevurah and Chesed, and that's where we start working and learning about the strength and the mercy, the justice and strength.
Those are like a ultimate yin and yang in
yes,
that.
that's that bridge.
Expansion and construction. Well, not construction, constriction, making small.
Absolutely. It is about the severity, the justice,
severity, yes,
as opposed to the mercy and the love.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's that more fanatical against the more liberated freedom. And then the fourth weekend is a retreat weekend. And what we do is we go out into nature, and a lot of preparation gets done in self, meditation, rituals, and work to clear the mind, to come to complete emptiness and stillness, so that you can have a face-to-face experience with the Godhood, Keter. So you get ascended into the supernal triad, Bina, Chokmah, and Keter. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell. But of course, you cannot really speak about Kabbalah in four or five sentences, or even in an hour or two.
It becomes an art in itself to be able to explain Kabbalah in like a few sentences.
Absolutely.
So, anything to add, Atma, Silvio?
I'm just wondering if King Kohelet is indeed King Solomon.
Sorry?
In Kohelet's speech, is it I forgot, is it the Book of Solomon, if I remember correctly?
Well, King Solomon is the traditional king that was spoken about in the Bible. We talk here about the son of David. Yes, absolutely. And, David and Goliath, we all know about the David and Goliath story. But King Solomon looked at how his father reigned, and his father reigned by the sword. He was a warrior. And what King Solomon decided is that is not the ultimate. And he wanted to reign from a different place. And that's why he asked God for wisdom, so that he could reign with wisdom and not necessarily the sword. Because what he did as well, when he consolidated all the the lineage of the mysteries, he cross-trained all his warriors to become healers, and his healers to become warriors, because he knew that there was that duality inside of us, and only by embracing both aspects of ourselves that we would become the perfected, the whole being. So yes, absolutely, King Solomon of the Bible.
So he is indeed Kohelet?
I don't know the concept. I'm sorry, I really don't know.
In that famed Vanity Karma, if you may. Actually, Vanity Karma is a commentary on that famed speech by King Kohelet, who is said to be King Solomon, where he's asking what the purpose of everything is. He's looking at the duality, and it's almost fatalistic if you were to look at it. So there's a commentary on it, Vanity Karma, as in vanity, like all your activities are in vain, and then karma, the work of the universe as you may. So I've been wondering, King Kohelet, is he indeed King Solomon?
Well, Atman, I will definitely investigate this, because this is not a concept that I'm familiar with, but I will definitely for sure look into it, and I will definitely get back to you.
Cool, so it's almost 1 hour. Has been 1 hour, so it's time to say goodbye. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And today's weekly guest was Dr. Rita. Thank you very much for being here. And Silvio, thank you for supporting us. And of course, Atma, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
And if you have any question about the show or what we discussed today, or tarot cards, or Kabbalah, anything, you can also email to mail2@cassiopeia.com. Thank you everyone, both listeners and guests. It was Interactive Tarot on 108live.radio. I am Kazway, your guide to tarot cards and holistic wellness. Tune in again next Friday at 11 a.m. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.